Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be us just talking to you. We're going to kind of do an overview on our 14-day cruise to Hawaii. We're going to give you our likes, dislikes, things, maybe some tips. I don't really think there's much we would do differently, but just kind of give you an overall. And I do encourage you, if you have any questions while watching this video, like if you're thinking about doing it and you have specific questions, put them in the comments, because I do try to answer all the questions that we get. And just my shameless plug, please like and subscribe. Still learning the YouTube thing to try to build our channel, but we've noticed that 93% of the people that watch our videos are not subscribed. So come on, help us out, please. Okay, so let's get into it.
All right, I want to start with the first tip.
A tip already?
Yes.
Okay, all right, let's go.
Book a cruise to Hawaii.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, if this is something like for us, I know we mentioned this if you watched our other videos, but bucket list. I mean, most people do have Hawaii on their bucket list to go to. And if you do like cruising, this is a great way to do it. That being said, if you don't like sea days, because we do talk to a lot of people that don't like that many sea days. They want to be port intensive, and we actually like the sea days. But we'll get into some of that as far as the sea days on our likes and dislikes.
So what were your likes of the ship?
Surprisingly, for me, I think we mentioned we're on the Carnival Radiance. This is a smaller ship, an older ship from Carnival. And normally we do all the big ships that are, new and have all the new fun stuff on it. So for me, one of my likes was actually, I like the size of the ship.
Me too.
Did not expect that. We always book big ships, and I hesitant going in. I was nervous about the size. I was nervous about the cleanliness of an older ship, especially, Carnival has a bad rap. I mean, we all know it, but we all still love Carnival. So I was nervous about that, but I did love the size of the ship.
Yeah, it was a really nice size.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really liked the staff on the ship. That was my second like, the size of the ship and the staff. The staff was really, really good, and they did a really good job of bringing on ambassadors, whether it was the naturalist or the singers, or whether it was the ladies that taught the ukulele or the hula. They were all extremely nice.
Right.
Yeah, I think we were on the end of the contract for our cruise director, who is extremely nice. He was always polite, could see him around. And that's really nice. And you don't always get that on larger ships because there's so many people.
I'm sorry. Not only that, like you're right. You don't get them always on the larger ships. I feel like you get maybe a little bit better service and friendliness. And we do like to chat with our room steward and stuff a lot. Yeah. Like every day we had little conversations with. But I do think some of that might be the fact that it was a 14-day cruise too. So we were together for 14 days. Yeah. So I think you form a little bit better of a bond if you choose to do that with some of the staff. Like the bond I had with the Hawaiian ambassadors, listen, I can't say enough.
Well, on that length of cruise, we met so many people on that cruise that we kept seeing over and over. And that's from the likes too, was that we were able to build, friendships and people that we still, can keep up with and see how they're doing. And it's a lot of fun. And
and I will say in that, again, that goes back to the size of the ship. I feel like because there wasn't 7,000 people on the ship. And normally, we don't tend to go on cruises. I know there's a lot of cruise groups out there, like on Facebook and things, and people chat. And we do join those groups more for information and things like that. We don't go on cruises expecting to meet our friends that we're going to have for life. But we do socialize on the cruises. But this one was definitely different. We definitely met some great people, and they really, I think, enhanced the cruise experience for us. So you mentioned the staff. So for you, it was the size of the ship and the staff.
Yes.
I will say my other that which is kind of an odd one too, but I like the walking track. Yeah,
that was really nice, not to have to dodge chairs and stuff like that.
Yeah, so if you watched our Norwegian one we did a year or so ago, that was a big complaint for us. Not that we're going walking every day on the cruise ship, But it is nice to have that. And I will say on this cruise, there were a lot of people walking every day. There were, I mean, especially in the morning hours. Even if it was cold, people were out there. So it was nice to have that you didn't have lounge chairs to get in your way. Yeah. So yeah, again, I didn't expect those to be my likes, but once we started thinking about it, that's kind of where I was.
All right, now dislikes. All right, so for me, it's funny because I like the size of the ship, but there were some really quirky things with the layout of the ship. I mean, if you didn't take the right staircase, you weren't going to end up at the Limelight Lounge. You would end up at the backside where it's not open.
I will say we are not the only one that couldn't find the Limelight Lounge. There were times where we were like, and this is not day 1. We're talking about like day 3 or 4. And we had to get to the Limelight Lounge and he's like, okay, let's go. We knew what deck it was on. And then we couldn't find it. Yeah. You go down the wrong staircase and it's not there. But we noticed there were other people and they were like, I think some people we noticed just gave up. They were like, forget it, we're not going.
Or like the dining room in the center of the ship, you can't walk through that area. So if you're on that deck and you're trying to get to the other side, you got to go up the stairs of the elevator, cut across and back down. And so I just think it's a weird layout.
Yeah.
And the second one for me was the pizza. So it was really weird. It's behind the buffet out by the aft pool. And every time we'd show up, there would be, 7, 8, 10 people standing outside waiting on this poor one guy who is working his tail off to try to make pizzas. And any other time on any other ship, doesn't matter what line, there is always hot pizzas ready. And so you're standing out there, sometimes it's raining or it's super cold, woe is me.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because
this poor guy's trying to make pizzas for, 15 people.
It's just really strange. Like, these are just the things that we notice. I mean, maybe other people don't notice, and maybe there's silly likes and dislikes, but this is what you're getting. This is us. But pizza on Carnival is just a very controversial subject for some reason, because people on the bigger ships hate where it is. They hate the long lines. But we've always felt like, yes, the lines maybe have 40 people, but they're moving. They're moving. There's 8 people back there making pizzas, and it's always going. This one person back of the ship.
Poor guy.
And you might don't get fooled, because you might come up on the pizza and there's like one person there waiting on pizza, and you're like, yes. And then it's not quick. And then by the time you choose what you want and he goes in the back and makes your pizza, there's 30 people behind you that are waiting. So it's just, it's really weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
And don't buy a drink from him either. There's a bar right there, because the poor guy.
He was so confused.
Oh.
Yeah. You feel bad for him, because he was working so hard and he was so nice.
Yes.
So nice. So it definitely wasn't his fault. Carnival just doesn't staff it. But I almost feel guilty for what I'm about to do here, because Chad's idea was like, we'll do 2 likes, we'll do 2 dislikes. And I couldn't narrow down the dislikes. And again, not complaining, had a great trip.
Oh, it was an
but
amazing
these are
trip.
things that I think are...
We want to set your expectations.
Yeah. Like, if you've done other Carnival ships, maybe you're like, oh, I noticed that too. Okay, so I keep looking at my little notes, so if you see me like glance off. For me, I will say my number 1 dislike was the food.
Well, in the hedge it, we do not really enjoy Carnival's food anyways overall at the main dining room.
Or the buffet.
Yeah. It's not our favorite.
No.
And it doesn't stop us from going, because we still love it.
Yeah, and we do eat at the buffet, and we did go to main dining, but I will say on this ship specifically, we had an issue with main dining, which caused us not to go back. 14 days, we expected to go to main dining. Might not be our favorite food, whatever, but we were still going to go to get that variety. But on this one, and again, this is silly, but it did bother me enough that I chose never to go back to main dining again. We kept getting served the wrong food. So like, we were sitting at a table for 2, there were other tables around us, and your waiter is dealing with multiple tables. They're very busy. We would order our food. We got served someone else's drinks. We got served
charged to other people's drinks.
Yeah, we got charged their drinks, which they fixed, but we got served their other food. And it was kind of a joke. By the end of the meal, we were like, nope, their table, nope, their table. And they're like, no. We're like, not our food. So yeah, and that happened at breakfast
3 different times.
Yeah, so we just chose not to go back to that. And like he said, we don't always love the buffet either, but we do love Guys and Blue Iguana. Like I could eat Blue Iguana every day for lunch on the other ships, but for some reason I just felt the quality of the food even at Blue Iguana was not the best. Again, we're nitpicking here, but it's what it is. I will say my second dislike. So on the pool deck, no, I guess it's not the pool deck. It's the upper deck.
It's the deck above the pool deck.
And I think this is just because it's an older ship. So where the funnel is, from the funnel back.
To the aft pool.
Yeah, to the aft pool. So that means like if you're in the sports deck, if you're on the walking track, there's the basketball court back there, foosball. I think even there's something else.
The rope course.
Yeah, so all that stuff back there, we were getting oil spills. So we noticed it one of the first days because we were out there laying out, relaxing, whatever. And all of a sudden I got a plop of, I didn't know it at the time, but it was oil on my arm. And I was like, what is this? And then the ladies next to us were like, oh yeah, you got to be careful. And we're like, what is happening? Yeah. That was crazy. So we did notice it when we were doing on the walking track that they had some of the crew were cleaning up that section of the walking track regularly because there was just drops of oil.
Yep.
That was just really weird. And I guess it's an older ship, but I really hated that a lot.
Yeah. Because it made you have to choose where you're going to sit because of the fact that there's a good chance that if you were behind the funnel, you were going to end up with oil on you.
Yeah. And of course, for our cruise, it wasn't a huge thing because the weather didn't really allow us to lay out much on our sea days. But if you were taking this ship any other time, I mean, that would be an issue because you're going to limit a lot of your lounge chairs. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go to number 3. I have 4 dislikes. I'm so sorry. I did. But the smoke.
Well, so I know what you're saying, and the smoke was, it was heavy in the casino, but it's expected because it's a smoking casino.
Yeah.
But the smoking into the Heroes tribute bar.
Yeah, so on this ship,
into the atrium.
If you're not this ship was a little different. The Heroes tribute lounge was kind of connected to the casino, and also the casino opened up to the atrium. Yeah. And they did a lot of little shows and things in the atrium with music and stuff like that. So you spent time in the atrium. Yeah. And I apologize. I can't remember how many 3 decks of the atrium. Where the casino was, because you'd walk out from the casino, and if you were just like on that deck, you could smell it. So we couldn't spend really any time in the Heroes Lounge watching any kind of sports because the smoke was just overwhelming. Yeah. And then even into the atrium, and then down one floor was the cafe, the coffee shop, and you could still smell it. And that the same level that I think was Pixels.
Yes.
So all through that open area, you could smell the smoke. And it was just like, we tried to avoid that area. No. Didn't like that at all.
Well, it just makes it hard. Like if you want to go into the tribute lounge to watch, it just happened to be that weekends that we were on there, they were playing playoff football. Mm-hmm. And so if you want to see it, or whether it was the national championship.
And it was super small.
Yeah.
So it was slam packed. There were people standing
and the smoke.
Yeah, and people were standing outside the tribute lounge, blocking the walkways to try to watch the games that was on the TV on the outside too. So not the best, but the smoking was a big deal. Yeah. And my last one, I promise. Well, I shouldn't say I promise because I could remember something at the end of this video and pop it in there. But my other dislike was inside places to sit. No. And so normally I don't feel like we have that on any of the cruise lines. Like I don't remember having such an issue of places to sit. So I'm trying to figure out how the best way to word this. So what happens is on this cruise specifically, the weather wasn't always great outside, just a little cold and windy. So most people found themselves inside. And also I did a lot of activities on board. So we were inside a lot more. but there wasn't a lot of places to just sit and relax.
Yeah.
So he likes to watch like his tablet and like, movies or whatever, and I'll read. And there was a lot of people doing that. And on this ship specifically, there were a lot of people doing like playing card games, like more than I've ever seen. Games in general. We saw people doing like crocheting and knitting and, just things to keep you occupied and things you enjoy during the day. But there was not a lot of places to do this. And so what happened was we noticed that people were using the buffet.
Yes.
To do that. So like at night, just for instance, I would say maybe around 7 o'clock or so at night, if you walk through the buffet area, I would say 80% of the tables were taken by people playing cards and socializing rather than eating.
Yeah, so it made it difficult if you were wanting to actually eat and find a space.
Right.
It made it a little bit more difficult to find a place to sit.
Yeah.
But like
we did it too.
said,
we used the buffet to play cards.
It just is not a lot of places inside to be able to sit and do that thing.
And I say that because like, even like as you're not in necessarily seating areas, but like around the ship, sometimes like in front of windows, there'd be seating and stuff. But I don't know if these people got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get these seats, but we could never find a seat inside.
Also, some of the seating becomes picture backdrops in the evening. So like you might find a nice chair, but they're going to ask you politely to leave at a certain time because they've got to get ready to be able to take pictures. And
like hours earlier. So like even like dinner time don't start till 5. They're starting the picture set up at like 3:30 in the afternoon. So yeah, they will ask you to leave. So that was a big dislike from me on this one. But I think that's about it as far as our likes and dislikes. I think we'll move on now to the ports. You want to talk about the ports?
Yes.
So, of course, this was a Hawaii cruise. We did 5 ports, 4 being Hawaii and 1 Ensenada.
Yes.
And hopefully you guys watched our videos. Hopefully you liked some of the videos. Hopefully we gave you some good ideas of things you can do on somewhat of a budget because we didn't spend tons of money on excursions.
But you need to plan. So whether it's our videos or somebody else's videos or locals, because there's a lot that we found through doing our own, research, but you've got to look because I don't know how many people we talked to that had nothing planned at a lot of these ports. And
then didn't do anything because they realized that you needed to make plans. Like we talked to people that were like, I didn't know that we were going to need to rent a car. And so there was really not a whole lot to do. And I just thought to myself, to me, a Hawaii trip is a big trip for most people. It's not like you're 3 days to the Caribbean or 7 days to a Caribbean. Like this is a big trip and you didn't plan. Like that's just shocking to me.
So I would say one of my tips though is make sure that you're up as the ship is heading towards port because most days you're getting there, you're awake. So, I mean, we were getting there whether 10 o'clock or what have you. And so it gave you an opportunity to get up and watch the ship pull into port. There's so much wildlife and so much beautiful landscape to look at.
Yeah.
I would say if you have binoculars, bring them. If you haven't, buy some binoculars because it's worth it. Like it helped that the time of the year in which we went, there were a lot of whales out and about. And so we got to see so many whales. But I mean, just the landscape, be able to use the binoculars to see things in the distance. Yeah. Just make sure you're getting up top to see
Well, with that being said too, I think we've mentioned that there's a naturalist on board. Mm-hmm. So you would check your daily itinerary. I forget the name of it. Why I can't think of it. Anyway, you would check your little daily activity.
Fun times.
The fun times. Thank you. I should know that. You check your fun times and I want to say around 9 o'clock every morning, for the whole cruise, the naturalist would do something on board, whether it be talking about different birds or wildlife, anything. And then also at night, he did one that was the stargazing.
Yes. Which,
I'm trying to remember, did we go to that?
We went and ended up leaving because it was so cold out that night.
That's right. Okay. Also, they don't shut the lights off on the ship. So I thought if they would shut the top lights off, you'd be able to see more stars, but again, that wasn't our big thing, but something else to take advantage of. But yeah, back to the port. Sorry. Planning is very, very important.
Yes. Another tip, make sure you bring cash.
Yeah.
Cash was very important. I hated that by the time we got to Ensenada at the end, that they only pretty much do cash. And so not having enough cash limited the ability to be able to purchase stuff, whether it be food or souvenirs or, just experiences.
Yeah, yeah, that's my fault. I had some cash set aside and I spent it at the casino because I didn't think we were doing anything in Ensenada, so it's on me.
But
I had $15. I'm gonna put a small clip, maybe like 3 minutes long, at the end of this video because I didn't have a whole lot on Ensenada, and you'll hear it at the end that it was just super windy, and so the audio was just totally messed up. So I kind of voiced over a little bit. If you stay till the very end, you'll see a little bit of Ensenada.
We hope we're fixing that because we have bought little microphones to be able to help with the wind.
Again, we're trying to learn the YouTube way. We're trying to get our videos a little bit better. If you have tips for us, if there's stuff you're liking or not liking, let us know. Just be polite, but let us know. We definitely love constructive criticism.
And in the Ensenada one, you can bargain with the people. We only had so many dollars to be able to buy the best churros you'll ever eat in your life.
Hold on. This is coming from the guy that cannot bargain.
Yes.
If they say it's $10, most people will try to get them down.
I'll pay 12.
He'll pay more.
Yes.
So this is funny. And normally we're not bargainers. Like if they say $10, I'm just going to pay it. I feel very awkward doing that. But yes, obviously it does work.
And there were these cute little kids on the bridge on the way, and they had, I doubt they made them. They probably bought them somewhere. But I felt like when I walked past Girl Scouts, I feel guilty for walking by and not buying the Girl Scout cookies. I felt guilty not buying their little trinkets. They wanted $1. And of course I didn't have a penny.
I just felt so bad. I didn't have $1, but I didn't. And I so would have done it. Like you said, it was probably just whatever, but to them it meant a lot. So, anything else about the port specifically? Like, I can't, you watched our videos. We had the best time.
Yes.
Like the ports, I don't know of anything I could have done differently. Obviously, I do plan on going back. I don't want to wait 5 years. I want to go back soon. And there's things that we will do that are different just because, in one day you can only do so much stuff. I don't know if I would do anything different in Kauai. I think I would just take that day to hang out at the beach. I don't know.
What she's not telling you is that I've been trying to talk her into doing the plane where it flies over.
Oh yeah.
Yes. It is a good deal.
I forgot.
She didn't want to do helicopters because she found out they don't have doors on them.
Yeah.
And so I would like to do, if we don't just sit at the beach like we did last time, which was amazing.
Yeah.
We had the great time.
Yeah.
I would like to do the plane.
Yeah, and then if you watched our Hilo video, I think, of course, we did the hop on, hop off, so we kind of got a little bit of the island. I think I would just go to one of those beaches and just hang out all day.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, those beaches were, I don't think it came across enough, but I could have spent all day at those beaches.
Yes.
Just beautiful.
And I think in Maui and in Honolulu, there's whatever you choose to do there, there's nothing you can do that is wrong. I mean, because there's so much to do that I would like to go back to just Honolulu, and there's so much more to do.
Yeah, and I will say that I highly recommend getting a car.
Yeah.
I know people love excursions, and I do like excursions for the reason of security and not getting back to the ship. But those ports, you're there till like 10:30 at night, and the island's not that big, and it's safe. So I didn't feel unsafe or worried about getting back in time. Of course, we watched our time as the day got on, but rent a car because there's just so many more local things to see and do that are not super commercialized.
Yes.
And I can't recommend Hawaii enough.
And eat local.
Yeah.
Find some place that, even when we were in Maui, we ate tacos, which,
But it was from a food truck.
But it's from a food truck, from a guy that lives there that, it's just, it was great. I
Yeah.
mean, whether we ate at the Dole Plantation, we had the Kahlua Port,
Yeah.
which was amazing. Which never thought rice and pork go together.
I know you keep saying that. That was
so
mind blowing
weird.
for us.
Yes.
But yeah, just get off the beaten path a little bit and explore. There's just so much to do. Just please go to Hawaii. And I guess maybe finishing up with any specific tips. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about onboard activities. I'm so sorry. This was a big one. If you've watched our videos, you know that onboard activities for me made the trip.
Yes.
I mean, normally I don't. Like, we might do a trivia here and there, but we're dumb. We don't. We're never gonna win a trivia. I know these people. I don't know how they know so much about everything, but we don't. So
I don't know anything compared to people.
Apparently, I don't know music. I mean, you would think I would know some of these shows I watch, but apparently I don't. No. So anyway, we do show up to some of those events. Normally on our cruises, game shows like Love and Marriage, all those kind of things. But this ship was just different because it was a Journeys cruise. So,
so lots of times the activities only had one running time.
As far as like Love and Marriage and things like that, or like the show.
So once the theater's packed, you're either going to have to try to possibly find standing room, or you're not going to be able to see it.
Because we did not get into Love and Marriage, and we didn't show up late, but we didn't show up an hour early. Like, it was, when I say standing room only, you couldn't stand. Like, I mean, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So yeah, that was a little different. The bigger ships have multiples. This one, no, everybody went to the one show. But as far as onboard activities, I more wanted to speak on the Hawaiian ambassadors. So you saw my videos, they brought on 2 Hawaiian ambassadors that did a lot of the daily activities as far as sarong tying classes. They did lei making. They did language classes. They did the hula and the ukulele classes. So the hula and ukulele, if you didn't see my videos, they are progressive classes. So every day at 9 a.m., hula class.
Through the whole cruise, separate port days.
Right. So on the way there and back, it was progressive. So you started off, never did I think I was going to be able to learn 4 or so, maybe at least 4 hula dances that I can still do, because you built on it every day. You kept repeating it and you kept practicing it every day. We did a great performance. It was so much fun. The people that we were in the classes with, we were saying earlier, we made friends. You're with these people every day.
Yeah.
So I formed such a bond, I feel like, which I know the ambassadors that come on see people new every week, and it's probably, the same. But for me, it just meant a lot to me.
So I'm not a really outward emotional person, per se, but watching her take part in that.
I'm gonna get teary-eyed just thinking about it.
I found myself getting emotional watching it, because the happiness that brought her and the other ladies and men that were doing it, and how much fun they were having. It was awesome. Yeah,
because like in the ukulele classes were every day at 4:00, and you started out just kind of learning a little bit about the ukulele and the history, and then you would learn a few chords, and then like every day it progressed, where they did, some of them performed while the other half did the performance of the hula. But like, shout out Steve, he was trying to teach me, help me. We sat next to each other. He was trying to help me learn the ukulele, which I did come home and buy one. And I love it. I've been practicing every day, which is something I've always wanted to do for years. And I finally am learning, which is just really cool for me. It's just, but as far as the onboard activities, take advantage of them. These ladies are fabulous. You could chat with them outside of the activities. It was really great. They also brought on 2 musicians that did like Hawaiian music on the Lido or in the atrium, which was really nice. And then the big thing on Maui night, they brought on a group, and it was around, I think it was 10 o'clock, 8 o'clock? 8 o'clock on Maui night. So you don't have to be on the ship till like 10:30, but we tried to scooch back a little early so we can see it, and I'm so glad we did. We missed a few minutes of it, but they bring, oh my gosh, from little kids to adults, and you get everything except the fire making or fire throwing, whatever.
Spinning.
Oh my gosh. It was fabulous. And people, they did I know one of my tips was don't pay for a luau.
Yeah.
Because if you can watch this is just as good. Like, I don't know what you're missing except the food. But some of those luau's on the excursions were like $200 or $300.
They were very expensive.
And I'm like, that was a lot for us. So we chose not to do it. Plus, this sounds silly, but we've been at the luau at Disney World. They used to do a luau at the Polynesian, and we've seen it a couple times. So I'm like, we're good. I don't need to spend $300. But also in Maui, if you watched our video, there's a place called South Maui Gardens.
Yes.
And we showed that they had a, you can even Google it, because if I'm not mistaken, I looked at it, and you can look it up and find out what days of the week and what times they do it. But they do a free luau there.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you're on a budget, that's a great tip for people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to spend that kind of money on one excursion that's going to last you just a couple hours at night.
And if it does work out, the cruise, you're there when they're doing the free luau. There are food trucks in the South Maui Gardens.
Yeah.
You can get food and be able to watch the show.
Yeah, so just that's a little tip, but I think that's it on the onboard activities.
No, so the onboard activities also, they do your typical parties. And so they did do the white party out. They did do the 80s.
It wasn't that long ago. We're having a hard time remembering. That's really sad. I'm sorry.
So they did the 80s party outside on the outside deck, and we tried to go, and it was
cold.
It was pretty cold.
Yeah, so we didn't really participate. But again, we do a lot of cruises. They always have an 80s and a white party, so
they did the white party inside.
Yeah.
And that was really neat. I mean, you're sitting around, you can dance, there's hallways and stuff.
Yeah.
So
they did it in the atrium area.
Yeah.
So like, so you had like 3 levels of people, and they're all around. It was fun. I mean, the vibe was great, but different than the other ships for sure. Not as many people participated in that, I don't believe.
Now they did on the onboard, they had a guy that did a one-man show where he did his whole life, where he was on Broadway. That was really neat. We got to see it. They did have comedians. I think we saw like 7 different comedians, and they had shows.
They weren't great on this one. And that was not just us. We heard a lot of people talking that the comedians weren't the best.
And then they had a magician on the onboard activities. And so if you really like magicians and stuff like that, then this is going to be great for you.
Yeah, I think they did. Did they not do a hypnotist?
They did.
Yeah, we chose. We don't. I'm not. That's weird to me. I'm not. They freak me out. So
now, Red Frog Rum Pub did have singers. Pretty much every night, and that was really good. I know that we talked to people that went to the piano bar.
And we spent a lot of time in Red Frog, because that's where a lot of the hula and ukulele and crafts and music. So a lot of times at night we got one of the tables in the back area, and we would play cards there while we can listen to the live band.
Yes.
So that was really great.
And then the last activity is the casino, as always. And so if you are a real big gamer, you're going to need to get there early, because there are not a lot of machines, and people sit there for hours on end. So you either need to get there and do it at different times.
I don't know if there's just a lot more of those elite or premier cruises lately, or we just happen to find ourselves on those. But
I'm not sure how that is.
We're not elite or premier cruise gamblers, but if that is one of your cruises, don't plan on gambling, because you can't find a spot in this casino. I had money to spend, and I could not find a seat. I mean, I think the best time that we found was like 7 o'clock in the morning, because we were up with the time change thing. We were up early, so we would go and grab some coffee and orange juice and go sit at a slot machine. But yeah, it was very crowded. Yeah. But I did sorry, I feel like we're all over the place, and hopefully you're following along. But time change. And this, again, is just specific for this cruise. I don't know how other cruises do it, but they were really good about, they would tell you, they would slowly have you change the time on board, on the way out and on the way back, an hour each night, so that you kind of get your body accustomed to it.
Yes.
That was just a little tip. So pay attention to that, because, I mean, it's important information, but it didn't really help. We were off anyway. But any other tips?
Yes.
So we're going to go to tips.
All right, so the first tip when you go to the port is that if you take an Uber in, have them drop you off at the Queen Mary. I know that I previously stated on a video, but if you've not seen that video, just have them drop you there. It's so much easier, the traffic in and out for not only the Uber driver, but yourself. Also have them pick you up over at the Queen Mary. It is so much easier in and out.
Yeah, we've already talked about bringing cash.
Yes.
We've talked about taking part in activities. Please do that. I mean, you're gonna make it's just so much more memorable. We talked about wildlife spotting.
Yes.
Bring your binoculars. I mean, we got a pair on Amazon for like $60 maybe. I mean, you don't have to spend a lot of money, but I think it's worth it. We talked about bringing cards. So
bring cards or board games, so that
Yeah.
way if the activities are down that night and there's not as much for you to do,
Yeah.
it gives you something to do.
Yeah.
And Carnival does a good job of putting movies on that are free that you can watch on your TV.
Yeah.
So they're newish
Yeah.
movies. So
Yeah,
there was
because-
a few movies that we have not seen,
Right.
that if it got to the point that we were done playing cards or what have you and we went back to our room, then
Well, and normally, of course, they do the movies out on the Lido deck, but again, very cold, so we didn't really take part of that. Not many people did on those days. There were a few, of course, the days we were in Hawaii, weather was great, and so people were out there, but other ways it was not. And I will say, as far as that, pack. Obviously, check the weather. I don't know, I'm a super planner, and I've said this before, so we do a lot of research. We do a lot of checking of weather and all these different things. So we actually had packed rain jackets because I heard that Hawaii was going to be rainy, that it could rain for 30 minutes and then stop.
Yes.
So we packed our rain jackets, didn't use them. But we had big puffer jackets, like big winter jackets, which I'm glad, because there was a couple days that we went out there on deck and we were getting blown away. And
we went and walked on the walking track just to get outside for a little bit.
Yeah, because it was so cold. We were inside the ship and kind of just go a little crazy. I just want to be outside. So we just put our jackets on and we walked. So just check the weather, pack accordingly. We did have to pack a lot more on this trip because of the weather. So we packed, the warm stuff and the shorts and bathing suits and stuff. So it was a lot to pack, but it was still worth it, right? Anything else?
No, just book it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. But if you have questions, I know we were a little scattered, but if you have questions, comments, leave them down below. We'll read them and try to respond. And, if we don't know the answer, we'll try to find out for you.
There are so many cruise lines that do Hawaii if you don't want to fly just to Hawaii, there's so many that do it, whether it's from San Francisco or San Diego or Los Angeles, and you can go across and, you're going to have a great time.
And if you don't want to do that, Norwegian does the Pride of America, which I haven't heard great things about that ship. That's why we didn't choose that one also. But you could fly out there and then take the ship to the different islands. But there are a lot of choices. And for us, it was great because we didn't know if we flew there where we would want to go. And so you get a little bit of each island. So, but definitely it was a great trip. It was so great. But stay tuned. We are going to put a little bit of Ensenada after this. And again, like and subscribe. And thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next adventure. Well, welcome to Ensenada, Mexico. So today we are ported here on the Carnival Radiance, and we're only here for about 4 hours. So the ship got here around 3:30 p.m. and we're here till around 7 or 7:30 p.m. And I wanted to do a really quick video. We didn't do an excursion. We're not here very long. But when we were doing our research before coming here, I couldn't find a whole lot. Didn't know if it was safe. So I just wanted to give you a couple little tips. It is very safe. We walked right off the cruise ship, right down a sidewalk with everybody else. And then you exit these gates, I guess that would be where security is, like on every other port, where you'll have to show your ID when you come back through. But right through there were a lot of pop-up tents, lots of souvenirs. Just imagine like an outdoor straw market, just tables of merchandise, little pop-up food trucks. As you see right here, we found some homemade churros, which were amazing. Probably the best churros I've ever eaten in my life. And for just $5, we probably got 15 to 20, maybe 4-inch churros. They were amazing. They had some food trucks with fresh ceviche, right across from Diamonds International. But lots of souvenirs. Right here, you're going to see this amphitheater. This is why I'm voicing over. Lots of loud music. They were playing. They had live bands. But as you can see, when you turn around, you'll see the cruise ship. So you're very close to the port. I will give a quick tip that you will need cash. So we did not realize that everything, as far as the outdoor markets, was all going to be cash. Of course, that's an error on our part. So we only had about $15. So we did buy the churros, and I was able to get a nice shirt. The shirt was marked $14. I showed the guy I literally only had $10 left, and he was so nice and took the $10, and I got a really nice souvenir. So, you know, I don't know if that's normal for them to haggle prices, but the people there were really nice. And it was very windy out today, but it was a beautiful day. We just went for a nice walk and enjoyed the cruise port. They do offer a shuttle right when you get off the cruise. It says it takes you into town. If it's where we're at, I would not suggest paying for the shuttle unless you have mobility issues that you can't walk. But it's really a short walk. It's all flat, so it was pretty easy. I don't know if there are a lot of excursions to do, but again, with only being 4 hours, we really didn't want to take any chances by going too far. I also know there was a shuttle that took you to Diamonds International, but again, not far from the ship, so we were able to walk. Apparently, it was a brand new Diamonds International that just opened, so they were offering some really good deals. But overall, nice port, safe, and I hope this helps you. If you have any questions about the port, we'll try to answer it. We didn't do much, but we did walk around. So thanks for watching our videos, and we're going to add one more video on this cruise. I believe it'll be kind of what we walked around the ship doing.